Welcome back. Now, straight away, let's check what's on the front and back pages of the newspapers. Beginning with The Finder, the front page story says, consolidate government cash with Treasury single account to avoid losses. Story captured on page 2. Also on the front page, HIV prevalence rate increases in Upper West. The story is captured on page 4. But one big story is Dr. Dampare others transfer viewed with surprise. Page 2 of The Finder has that story. I will take a deeper look at that. But also here, Bank of Ghana cautiously optimistic about curbing inflation. That's the Finder newspaper. The Daily Graphic has photographs of Mr. David Ampabening, Mr. Yaji Akuruba, and Dr. George Dampare, all executives of chief top men of the police service, were told of major changes in police. And the story, the big story banner is trouble for drug barons as donors support Ghana's fight with $1 million. And then on page 6, there's a story that has the captured on the front page. Says, win elections at polling stations, mantra recipe for violence. We take a look at it. The back page of Daily Graphic has breast cancer, hepatitis centers for Accra and Kumasi, photographs of the health minister and the boss of the Ghana Health Service. We'll talk more about that story later on. The BNFT has on the front page, mobile money transactions hit 35.4 billion Ghana cedis. That's a lot of money. And we'll tell you exactly why that is happening and get my guests to make comments on that. And Bank of Ghana to offer DKM debt for sale. The BNFT has captured that story too. And Ghana broadly meets 2015 IMF program target. The Daily Guide has on the front page, massive shake-up in place over Bukom Banku JB. Well, that's what the Daily Graphic says, but it comes with a photograph of the two men, the Member of Parliament, the former Member of Parliament, and the boxer Bukom Banku with COP George Kufu Dampare here. And then NPP in good shape, that's according to Nanado. And then runaway robber, we're told, nabbed. And the Ghanaian Times has 32 boxes of ammunition seized. The story is captured on page 3. They were on their way to Bunkpulugu in the northern region. We'll tell you more about that. My guest in the studio this morning to help me do the discussion. To my left is a Member of Parliament for Tema East, Titus Ni Kwate Glover. Titus, grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well. And I hope the week has started well for you.
Well, not bad. We are resuming today.
Okay.
After a few weeks break.
Right. A lot of rest.
Not exactly, because we had a lot to do in our constituencies and all that.
The registration.
And, you know, so we are ready for work.
Okay, grateful. Welcome once again. Then to my right is the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Madam Barbara Sewa-Asamoah. Grateful to have you this morning.
Thank you.
And I hope you're doing great.
By God's grace.
Yesterday we were told that Galamsey is causing some harm to our water. And I'm sure the ministry is dealing with it.
Definitely.
Grateful. And then to my extreme right is Dr. Edward Kwapon. He is the Chief Executive Officer, HR Perspective. Dr. Kwapon, grateful for your time this morning too.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with this story on the shake-up of the police service. The Daily Guide has captured a massive shake-up in police over Bukom Banku and JB. Also on the front page of the Daily Graphic, major changes here. Now, the police service says these are normal routine changes. Some have said that, well, too many, too much in just a few months of his becoming the IGP. Titus, let me start with you. Are these concerns worrying? The fact that just about 6 months in office and he's done more than 2 shuffles?
Thank you very much, Bright, and good morning to your viewers, most especially my people in Tema, his constituency. The issue about security normally is left in the hands of the security to determine what they think is fit, because they have the know-how, they have the skill, they have the information as to what they think is best for our country and our people. But factors that underpin the reason for these changes, it is left with the Interior Minister, it is left with the IGP, because you cannot do these changes without the National Security Coordinator, National Security Advisor, and the Interior Minister himself. So I think that these are the creme de la creme of people in authority who will really influence these changes to be done. For example, looking at Dr. Dampari, coming from the Director of Finance also in the police administration to be sent to the region, he's now getting his feet, on the ground in the region to make sure that whatever management ideas, typology that he wants to bring on board to ensure that the safety of our people in the region are secured, it's ongoing. But lo and behold, when he's about to be settled, then you haul him out now to the police college to be in charge of training and all that. So it's a bit worrying, very murky.
Even though you said earlier that, it lies in their bosom to do that?
Yeah, it did.
Yet it is worrying.
It did. But sitting back as a lame person, as a member of parliament, and looking at, I don't know him from Adam, I don't know Dr. Dampari from Adam, but with serious issues that has come up, i.e. the gruesome murder of my colleague, and few issues that have come up. If that is the reason why they are taking me off, I cannot tell. You see, in this country, sometimes communication is lacking. Even in other jurisdictions, the reason why they have been changed will be known.
I see.
They'll let the public know. I mean, the Metropolitan Police in London, issues like this, they'll make it explain for people to buy into the idea, so they will all support the reason and the drive why this arrangement was made. But hey, in Ghana, we don't have such an arrangement. So we do anything at all the way we like. But let's leave it intact. I believe that that decision was done in the supreme interest of our country, to make sure that we have the best that we can do. I don't want to say anything adverse, but we'll sit back and watch whether indeed this arrangement that was meant for genuine reasons or otherwise. You understand what I mean? So I'll be quiet and be watching at a distance and see whether indeed these changes that was made was purely for professional policing or for any political advantage or whatever. It will be too early to judge in that manner.
To say that.
We'll sit back.
I'm grateful. Titles. Madam Barbara Sama, now, some have suggested, for instance, that these officers' transfer could be punishment. They suggest, for instance, that removing Dr. Dampari from here in Accra to Winneba is a punishment.
Thank you very much, and good morning to viewers this morning. Security matters, I think, are matters that we don't have to take for granted and make comments that we don't really understand. Yeah, it is very, very important. Taking into consideration the fact that we are in an election year, and then all of us have been witnesses to even the just ended registration and the concerns that were raised by all stakeholders, I must say, including the NDC and the MPP, who are the major stakeholders in this election. And so if the police service, in consultation with all the security agencies, think that these are people with various or varied expertise that can help in certain areas, I think we should leave that, like Honorable said, for now, we don't have to try to go behind why somebody has been moved to. We should all accept that it has been done in the interest of Ghana, especially looking at what the task ahead of us. We are in an election year, and this year's election is a very crucial one. And so if we don't take measures to ensure that our security issues are dealt with very well, and then the fact that people are impugning all kinds of things and associating people with all kinds of things, like what is in front of Daily Guide, I don't think is the best. Let us leave.
Daily Guide is suggesting, it's alleging that...
Well, I don't even want to go there because I don't think that, I don't know what transfer, in any case, any government or civil servant, public servant or security servant, anybody who works for government or even work for private, once you work for somebody, you should know that you can't be transferred. And I'm sure these men who have been transferred, these officers, are not surprised that they've been transferred because they know that as part of, especially in the security, you can be moved any day, anytime. to where you are most needed. And it is part of their routine. I'm sure they appreciate it very well. So for anybody to say that, I don't know what kind of influence or what kind of power Bukom Banku has, that will make because of him.
The Daily Guide is alleging that the Dr. Dampari caused his arrest when he was alleged to have beaten a woman. That's why he's been punished for arresting someone they believe is in bed with the ruling government. That's what the Daily Guide is alleging.
You know, even big-time politicians have been arrested in this country. So if somebody has assaulted a woman and has been arrested, what is so strange about it? And do you think that that alone, that single act, can cause the whole police service to do? What about the others who have been transferred? What was their crime? What did they do wrong? So, I mean, we should just allow the security system to operate. We should allow them to do their work very well, support them so that we can have a peaceful country. That's the most important thing. For a long time, we've been enjoying peace. But if you look at this year's election, we put security measures in place to curb whatever somebody may be planning. And I saw in front of one of the papers that they've even arrested or seized some ammunition that were going to
the Ghanaian Times is reporting some ammunition seized on its way to the northern region.
Recently, we had a similar seizure in Kumasi and other places. So if the police administration, in consultation with all the other security agencies, find it fit at this particular moment in our history to do this very important exercise, we shouldn't just trivialize it to Bukom Banku. I don't know what it has to do with the murder of the MP, which was very, very unfortunate. But I don't think that that alone will cause the whole police service to do this massive shake-up as they themselves have termed it. Yeah.
I'm grateful for your submission. Dr. Kwapon, the IGP, this is his third transfer of his team. Would you buy into the idea that he seemed not to have his foot properly on the ground because transferring officers 3 times in a space of 6 months suggests that he is doing what we call trial and error. Is that what you think too?
Well, in the first place, I want to associate myself with the earlier speakers with regard to the fact that when we are talking security matters, we must be careful because it's very difficult to determine the motive behind some of these things. I believe essentially we want to have a very effective police administration, a police service. And to do that, we need to build capacity. And so in building capacity and equipping people with skills, in the corporate world as well as all other institutions, we transfer from time to time, just so that the person will have a feel of how it feels, you get a feel of how it is on the ground. So I will not fault him for doing this. It's another way of testing their character and how steady they are as police officers. So I wouldn't worry. And at the end of the day, we are also ensuring that they become more versatile, they are more familiar with the terrain, whether at the head office or in the field. So for me, I will not fault them. It's also good for career planning. Director of administration now to the training school at Winneba. Someday he may come back, but then he will have a better appreciation of the dynamics of managing a college or a depot or a training college as it were. So I wouldn't again also fault them. Again, in terms of leadership development, at times you rotate you through a number of shadows so that eventually when you come back to the head office, you've seen it all, you've experienced it, so there are no hiccups. You understand the processes and procedures. So again, and I realize that he's a doctor, so I believe he has a PhD. So going to head a training school, again, I do not see anything wrong with that. Perhaps he's going to impart knowledge. He's going to, raise up the standard of training and knowledge transfer there. So I wouldn't fault the IGP. My only question is, in terms of the organization structure and the levels of leadership, is it being transferred to laterally the same
position that is it's higher,
yeah,
or
coordinate,
on
that's
at
right.
the same level.
If
That's
there are
the worry
coordinate, relationships in terms of organization structure, then I don't have a problem. However, if it's a dip, then we will have morale problems. It means that constructively he's been demoted. And so that is where, but I do not know and understand the structure of the police administration. So I do not know how senior a director of finance will be to say the head or the principal of a training school. But if one is lower than the other and he's moving from a higher position to a lower position, then one will be worried quite naturally. But like I said, I do not know, so I can only...
We cannot, yes. We are yet to see the structure of the service and see whether a training school means a dip if you're transferred.
That's right. And finally, why now? When we are just 6 months away from an election. Well, it's part of the preparation towards the elections, but I consider it too close, and therefore you open up, you give people the opportunity to impugn motives to, the whole exercise. So perhaps the timing is where I'll have a bit of a problem. But otherwise, transferring staff around is a natural management process.
You have an HR perspective. Titus Glover was referring to the metropolitan place in the UK where transfers are made, and the reasons for these transfers are made public. In an establishment, if a staff is being transferred, how public should we go with that information within the establishment, if not outside?
Well, normally transfers are matters of management or executive management decision, and at times it's treated at the highest level of the organization, and therefore it's very confidential. We cannot go out there and give the reasons behind every transfer. It may be dangerous because we might have set a precedent in the past, and now the current one may be going contrary to what has been done in the past. So normally we will keep it amongst the top, the executive team. Yes, they will understand the reasons why. They will not come to the rank and file and tell them that we are transferring Dampare because of ABC. That would be dangerous. It's not good for a security service. And even in normal corporate, in the corporate world, we don't do that.
I see. I'm grateful. Okay, a quick one.
My understanding of that statement is the fact that, you see, from yesterday, when the announcement came that he's been transferred, a lot of people are asking questions. What has necessitated his transfer? People may be putting a lot of meanings to it. That is why I'm saying that the onus is on the police administration. Oh no, it is true that within the nucleus, within the police hierarchy, they can keep his reasons for the transfer. But where it becomes public, where people really want to know, because we're in a democracy, and security is key. Nothing stops the police administration to tell us what is the motive behind these things. That's why I was trying to...
You're not worried if perhaps the transfer is for a key security operation? We should be told, the public should be told?
They have their own way of trying to...
For instance, if we want to transfer Dr. Dampare to go and pick some people at a border post, we should tell the public why we're putting it?
That is not the reason. I mean, these are purely security arrangements. These are intelligence work. You don't come and make it public.
Right.
So this is an administrative arrangement that has been done. Okay? So that's why I'm saying that, look, when they get to the crunch, people want to know what really happened because the man is working. There's nothing wrong. From our side, when we are sitting as public, we don't see anything wrong. Because, for example, sorry to make these two examples that the Daily Guide is talking about. And sorry to remind the families of my lost colleague and all that. The police have no clue as to how it happened. They were only notified when the incident happened. So now they are trying to unravel, the circumstances that led to the demise of my colleague and all these things. You understand? So if that has led, based on the Daily Guide story, has led to his transfer, people may be asking a lot of questions. Maybe he does not want to talk. He may confine his few people and all that. But still, I want to stand where I am. I know whatever has been done is the interest of this country. But my worry is that in future, let us know. Let us know why these things has happened.
I see.
But I'm not saying that if they are going to arrest somebody in a place, police should go. No, if you do that, then the person is going to run away.
Right.
You understand? So, for me, for now, I'll keep quiet and watch carefully
for things to unfold. Okay, I'm grateful for your submission there. Madam, I hope you don't have any reaction to that.
No. My only issue is why one particular person, because there are a number of people who
were transferred.
Why is it that it looks like there's only one person that people want to know why he's been transferred? That's what has been wondering my mind. But apart from that, I think it's okay.
But I haven't had the opportunity of reading the full story.
Oh.
Right.
But where you are, say, DCOP, that is Deputy Commissioner of Police, and you are being sent out to replace somebody, and that person is a superintendent, then, you know, the question arises as to the equity and fairness in this. You know, and so people are tempted to say that then it's a constructive demotion. But let me also say that in the corporate world, transfers are done. At times you do not understand the motive. In one expatriate company in this country, when they wanted to make a gentleman the chief executive officer, he was transferred out of Ghana to Malawi, which is a relatively small country, to head or act as the head of that company. From there, he was moved to either Uganda or Kenya. Then he came to Nigeria. And then eventually he was appointed the managing director or the chief executive officer of the outfit here in Ghana. So at times you don't know the motive. We may send you to a lower role just for you to get a feel of how...
And come back to the top.
And come back.
But I think that, Doc, I think that he should take the bull by the horn and take the challenge.
Okay.
You know, you should not see it, you know, as a way of a punishment. But looking at his background and all that, he should excel. And whatever he is, his time will come, and whatever you want to serve in a place.
No sweat.
All right, it's a development story. We'll tell you more about that. But let's stay with the Daily Graphic now. This story here on page 16 says, win elections at polling stations mantra, recipe for violence. That's according to the chief imam. The story says that the Office of the National Chief Imam has urged the EC to tone down on its mantra that elections are won at polling stations because it can be a recipe for aggression during the November 7 polls. The emphasis of the EC on the fact that elections are won at polling stations opens up aggression at these stations. That's the spokesperson for the Chief Imam, Sheikh Aremia Shaibu, telling the Daily Graphic. Now, let's quickly take a look at that. Dr. Kwapon, this issue became a big one at the 2012 election petition, where the key thing, and of course some political parties said that elections are won at polling stations. We were told by the chief imam that the EC will need to tone down because it could be an avenue for people to misbehave during the polls.
Yeah, I think there is merit in what he's saying. If you put it in context, at the polling station, we have every party's representative there. And when the counting is being done, they observe and they confirm and they sign documents. And then the documents are transmitted from the polling station to the constituency center, to the regional center, and eventually to Accra, the Electoral Commission. So if you are not vigilant at the polling station and you allow certain mistakes and transpositions to occur, and eventually it lands on the table of the Electoral Commissioner, he has very little to do. And so that was the reason behind this. But then if you look at the reverse side of it, emphasizing that it's a polling station that you can win an election, because that's the genesis of, you know, the matter. Then if people get aggressive at the polling station, they can insult each other, they can resort to fisticuffs, and then in the end, there will be chaos. And how many policemen do we have to dispatch to all the polling stations if we have crisis? And like you said earlier on, this is a very crucial election, and everybody is anxious to win because there has been a certain trend, the 8-year rule. And therefore, for both the major political parties, it is the biggest challenge ahead of us, or the biggest contest. So with that kind of posturing and with that kind of anxiety and determination, the tensions are high already, and we must make sure we don't push this idea too far. Otherwise, you allow people to resort to fight at the polling stations.
Being vigilant at the polling station, let me ask Madam Barbara, being vigilant there, is it not simply saying that ensure that the figures are right? Do we have to be violent? in winning elections at polling stations?
That is the whole issue. You know, being a very active member of the NDC, I can appreciate it when the EC says that elections are won at the polling station, because I would even go further to say that it's won at the polling station, but not on the day of election. When political parties say polling station, I'm sure Honorable Titles will agree with me. What we mean is the whole area, what we call a branch in our political parties. The work that the political party put in that particular branch will determine the outcome on the voting day. And then when the voting day comes, the activities that happen there, if you have for example, if you are a party agent, all you need to do is to ensure that whoever comes to the polling station and has the right to vote, has his or her name in the voters register, is allowed to vote.
Right.
After voting, you ensure that the counting is properly done, the sorting in the first place is properly done, counting is properly done, and then the right figures are recorded. That is the only exercise that you are supposed to undertake at the police station.
And you think this should lead to violence?
That is the issue. So how this always leads to violence is something that I have never been able to appreciate. And so I can also understand if the chief imam says what he's saying, because in most cases, it is the youth or some people who may not even have any business at the polling station on the day of voting. They are the ones who go there to cause confusion. And this is because people have the notion that if you are not very vigilant, I don't know how vigilant you can be with violence, because the violence tends to disrupt the whole process. So it is very important that you allow the process to go on peacefully. If you don't allow the process to go on peacefully, it affects you. For example, if you carry ballot boxes away, how are you going to know the number of votes in the ballot box? How are you going to know whether you won that polling station or you didn't win? And so it is very, very important that as political parties, as for this one, it is on the political parties. It is very, very important that we train our party agents and our supporters. The EC has a mandate.
Right.
And their mandate is to ensure that we have free and fair elections. And that is all. All the other activities that go on, EC has no role to play in it. That is why they keep saying that if you don't organize yourselves well, if you don't train your party agents to understand the process, don't come and blame EC. That's why they say elections are won at the polling station.
So they are not calling for violence at polling stations?
No.
Just being vigilant. Being vigilant does not mean being violent.
Being violent, that is the issue. And so this one is the onus is on political parties to ensure that we give our our party agents proper training, and then do away with this, a simple exercise like challenging somebody. For example, the past, this just ended registration. A simple exercise of challenging somebody you think that is not 18 years or is not a Ghanaian turns bloody. Why should it be so? Because another person says, no, I won't allow you to challenge the person. And you say, no, it is my right and it is legal for me to challenge the person because I know that the person is not 18 years or is not a Ghanaian. Why should this result in violence? And so I think that it is up to the political parties and especially our youth to take heed from all that. It's not only the chief imam, even though he's emphasizing on what EC has been trumpeting. We have several important dignitaries in this country who have warned us about violence at polling stations. And I think it is high time that we do away with it.
I'll come back to you, but Mr. Glover, so Madam Barbara is fingering political parties in this violence at polling stations. You have to be vigilant, but should you engage in violence just because you need to challenge what is happening there?
Thank you very much, Brian. I think that violence is not the panacea to resolve differences. One thing that we should know as a people is that politics should not divide us as a country. In your own family, you can have siblings in different political parties. But at the end of the day, the way they relate among themselves makes the party that they follow very healthy. Do you understand? So on polls day, everybody has a role to play. The duty of the Electoral Commission is to come and superintend the elections at that particular polling station.
Right.
The actors, the political parties, they equally have their role to play. And what are these roles? They send their representatives in the form of agents to go and take part in the elections, observe what has been done in the elections. Again, the security officer who is sent to the police station, it is your duty to protect everybody at the polling center. If you think that there's something that is more difficult, you only call for support from your superiors, and you only come. And again, and the public or the polling station where these elections are, we know ourselves. Where I vote is where I was born 50 years ago in Chudase Primary A. We know ourselves from side 7, side 9, side 10, side 5. We know ourselves. So any intruder who comes in to come and foment trouble, we can easily identify the person. So I think that we should not make this like we and them affair at all costs. Let us be more relaxed. And admonition by the chief imam, it is for all of us. If you know you are coming to the election, the polling station to come and foment trouble, then please don't come. Because people are really determined to make sure that they are vigilant, they are open to make sure that things are free and fair. Sometimes the behavior of some presiding officers is another problem. You go to a polling station or polling center, the agent is sitting under the tree and the election is going on where the camera is. How can he observe? How can he see anything that is going on wrong? So the EC should also speak to their staff. Some of the presiding officers who are being given the opportunity to supervise the elections at the polling stations. Do you understand?
So they stop the agent from getting closer to where the activity is?
Oh, no, you see clearly that the agent is sitting under the tree and the presiding officer and his team are doing their normal thing. But you need to be close to the table. What about if an imposter has just walked in with somebody's ID card to come and cast the ballot? Because when the person is coming, you are watching. I have been an agent before, for 1992, 1996, and in 2000. I went to a lot of training, and we are imparting this into our people. So I think that it is something that we all need to take on board to make sure that we reduce the level of the tension. After all, it's Dr. Atubuga who told us that the police station, of course, that is the truth. Is it not the police station that they cast the ballot?
That's where elections are won.
That is where the Supreme Court is. That is where we cast our ballot. That is where votes are counted and the winner is declared. So when you finish, you send to the coalition center. And this time, we want to make sure that there's not going to be 27-0. We'll make sure we send people who are very credible and capable to understand what they are going to do at the polling station. It is a very, very interesting, should I call it, exercise, you know. So we want a level playing field. The Electoral Commission should be very open to all of us. The security agencies should be open to all of us. You will go to a police station where security agents will be bullying other political parties. But that cannot happen. When you do that, the people who are watching, they will also be angry. So I think that if you are a police officer, you are a soldier, you are a custom officer, any security officer who is sent to a police station, you go and do what is fair and what is right to promote the democracy at that polling station. But where you want to throw your weight around, you want to bully people because you think you are in a security uniform, you can do that, then the people have the right to challenge you.
I see.
You understand?
So this mantra for you it should not be the reason why we should fight each other.
Right. I'm not sure.
The fact that the elections are won at the polling station.
Why should you fight? In the recent registration exercise we did in Tema East, we never had a problem. I don't foresee anything happening. Because myself and my candidate, he's my big brother. We've lived together. He's about 2-3 years older than me. The way you handle your supporters, the way the leaders relate among themselves, in a way it reduces the tension at the registration center or at the election center. So I think that we have a role to play as a political party. But where we want to use state security apparatus to coerce or to make sure you want to bully your way through, of course, it must be resisted. And for me, I have no shame. I will resist it. In Tema East, if they dare, I'll resist it.
Who dares?
Do you understand? Because I won't sit down for the security apparatus in Tema want to throw their weight behind the NDC candidate. That cannot happen.
How?
I don't foresee that.
In what way? This is
what
a
I'm saying
of voters dropping their ballot. If you see they're throwing their weight, how?
We are discussing about the possibility of tension at the polling station. And I'm giving you a chronicle of war will contribute into a tension at the police station. If the presiding officer at the police station is not being straightforward, is not being fair, and is doing things that is untoward towards that, the agent at the police station can challenge the presiding officer. The agent again should also behave well to cooperate with the presiding officer at the police station. And I'm also saying that if a security officer, because he's wearing uniform, of course it's automatic that anybody in uniform is supporting government. And that is why I'm also cautioning.
Is that indeed the case?
I'm cautioning.
Very interesting.
Is that indeed the case?
Right, I'm cautioning.
Are you
no
saying
that
when the
should
NPP
make
was
any
in
attempt
power,
or trying to?
every security officer supported the party?
It is not so.
You just
It is
said
not so.
you just
It is
said-
not so.
Maybe when they
We have some supporting, so they have their votes, which is secret. But inwardly, they know what they are going through in this under this administration.
I see.
So I am appealing that no national security or BNI or police or soldier should make any attempt of trying to bully people at the police station. That will be resisted, I can assure you.
Guys, can I make a quick
Madam, go ahead.
If you
Just
go
quick
to a
reaction
polling
before the
station,
Takapon comes
if
in.
you go to a polling station and everything is going on normally, there is no way a security agent will just get up and start harassing anybody. You see the police, at times they even sit far away from where the process is taking place. You only find that the security person, whoever he is, gets up to the place where there is some tension. Of course, he is there to ensure that there's peace and order. And we will not allow the tension to escalate. And so when they are able to tell that this is a particular person who is fomenting trouble, definitely the person will be taken away. But should I say that experience is the best teacher, as they say? Is that what they were doing when they were in power? Were they using the security apparatus to molest people who were going to vote, going through a simple process of going to cast their ballots? So I don't understand it when he says that he will not sit down for the police to be used or the security agencies to be used, because the security agent has never been used to foment trouble at any polling station. It is as a result of the activities of party agents that result in the police or whether it's a fire service personnel, or it's not always the police officers. At times we have even volunteers there. So it is the activity of the party agent. If you give your party agent proper training, I agree with him when he says at times they are allowed to sit very far from where the process is going on. That is why all the political parties meet with electoral commission before the election. And so these are some of the issues that we need to iron out before the election. But if you come threatening that you will not allow one person, what can you do? You understand, if you sit, you are sitting here, we have a lot of people who are watching us. And you find a member of parliament talking this way. What he is doing is energizing his people to prepare themselves for something that does not even exist. That is what he's trying to do.
I got you the chance to react.
Yes, don't worry. So it is very, very important, like he said.
I got you the chance to react.
It's very, very important, like he said, that we, the leaders, this morning when we were coming to the studio, it's unfortunate people didn't see him holding my hand and helping me to climb the steps and then get down on the stairs. It's beautiful. I think if we try to portray that to our followers, that elections is not about do or die affair. It is not about all die be die, but it is about taking the reins of governance and to seek the welfare of your people. If we portray that to the people, I don't think anybody will go about fighting and creating confusion as they do. But if we come and sit here and create the impression as if we are prepared, we are preparing ourselves for war, and that if you bring it, I will cut. I mean, it is not nice. That is not the kind of thing that a member of parliament should be talking about. Let us give our people some kind of confidence. Let us give our people some kind of understanding of the process so that they don't go to the polling stations ready and then every little thing that happens, they are looking for trouble and creating confusion at the place. I think that is the only aspect that I want to tell
Jesus.
She has attacked my personality.
He has not. You made a statement that you resist
a member of parliament sitting on the national television.
Please.
That is wrong. As a deputy minister, because
right. Can you allow me to moderate the conversation? Can you?
But I need to.
You will have the chance to react.
Right.
Allow me to moderate the conversation. Dr. Kwapong, so the key thing here is about political parties giving their supporters the understanding of the process. Okay, so that it does not get to where the supporters will take to violence when they don't even understand what is going on. Let's still stay on this polling station thing. Let me get your thought on this.
Yeah, you see, the challenge that the chief imam has thrown is a very big one. Essentially, it's directed at those who are supposed to be umpires in this whole process, representatives of the Electoral Commission and the security agencies. Right. You understand? It means that they should have the capacity to withstand any pressure and to break any tension when it crops up. And I believe the idea or the motive behind the warning is that we have sufficient capacity for all the polling stations in terms of EC representatives, in terms of policemen or the security agencies, because we don't have, and there is the potential for the parties to kind of feel agitated and want to go into violence. Then there is a trouble. There's going to be trouble, and you know, nobody gets agitated until he thinks or perceives the umpire to be biased and to be working against his interests. Then he will naturally get agitated. So in a way, the chief imam is saying that it's a dangerous mantra, because if you carry it too far, it means that at the polling station, and I've heard some politicians saying that then if it means resorting to pesos, I mean, is it pesos? Yes, they will do that. It means that there is potential danger ahead of us. And the question is, do we have sufficient capacity, enough capacity at the polling stations to beat back or fight this potential explosion that may occur? That is, I think, the crux of the matter. And so much as we want to train your polling agents, much as we want to train the EC officials, you must also let the security play very fair to everybody on that day. Then there will be peace.
I see. Grateful, Dr. Kwapong. Titus, you cannot react to what he said, but she's suggesting that, in fact, if party agents are well trained, this confusion we're talking about won't occur at the polling station.
Right. What my kid sister is trying to portray to show to the viewers as if I'm a violent person is what I'm trying to let her know that I'm
sure you're quite older than her, so
you know, because I did enumerate factors that would lead to tension at the police
assumptions
station.
They are all assumptions.
I.e., if a presiding officer is not being fair at the police station, trying to favor one political party against others, it can bring problem. If a party agent is trying to misbehave, not being cooperative at the polling station, can create a problem. If a security officer who is being assigned at that polling station is trying to intimidate voters from coming to vote, it can raise tension at the polling station. And that is why I brought it out. I'm a candidate, and I know what the NDC is doing in my constituency. And I'm saying that I will not sit down that a security officer will come and intimidate my agent or people at the polling station. What is wrong about us to say this? And for you to come out to say that I'm trying to incite you, I'm not.
But it's suggesting that you take the law into your hands.
That is the point.
I'm not taking the law into my hands. So we should sit down for the look. Hold on, my brother. Coming events cast their shadows. In this recent registration, limited one, my regional chairman for Volta region have to follow a national police patrol team vehicle.
The police has denied that.
All the way from here.
They have denied.
Hold on, please. He have to chase them to they were taking the machine to Matikasa.
The police has denied that. The EC has also denied that.
What are we talking about? So coming events cast their shadows. So you think my chairman is a little boy that cannot know what is right? Is that what you are saying? They have seized his phone. They captured the police when they've taken the phone from him. And very soon you'll be hearing from him that he's going to court. What is this? All that I'm saying is that let us respect the admonition of the chief imam. He's cautioning all of us. But it does not mean that because you are in power, you can do whatever you want to do. That's what I'm saying. I'm not inciting. So I should sit down for them to come and brag over me. Is that what Barbara is saying? Please, don't talk like that.
But what if
she's
you
not
don't say
saying
that?
Stop imputing some personal attacks on me, please. I'm not inciting people, but I'm tell your people. Tell them.
Which people? For NDC, I can assure you that NDC is a very serious political party that takes elections seriously. And so right from day one, we train our people
we also train
to
our
go
people.
through the processes
I have trained my agents.
But if you have a situation where somebody is saying, I will not sit down, I will not sit down, we will sit down and ensure that everything is done according to law. And then we will, on our part, obey. Anyway, I don't want us to go into the debate of who died, who did, so maybe.
All right, I'm grateful. Now, quickly, let's shift attention to this story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, and 32 boxes of ammunition seized on the way to Bunkurugu in the northern region. We're told that the bus with registration number GE1152P was traveling from Kumasi and was stopped at Kintampo upon a tip-off. Now, the suspect had been transferred to the regional police headquarters for further interrogation. Quite a scanty story. And we're also told that the owner is a 41-year-old man. The driver, also 36, and one other person were initially arrested. But they managed to escape, but were rearrested the following day. A search conducted revealed that the consignment was made up of 800 pieces of ammunition to that part of the country. Madam Barbara, that part of the region is quite volatile. Ammunitions of their way there isn't good news.
Yeah, definitely. Isn't good news. And I must commend the security agencies. For some time now, they've been, I should say, very vigilant and then in clamping down on some of these armed smugglers. I don't know why we live in such a peaceful country. And is it because of money? What is the motivation? We know that for some time now we've had some peaceful interruption of peace in this Bunkurugu area. And so what is the interest of whoever is smuggling these arms to that particular area? Is it going to foment trouble? Is it going to sell it to those who are already engaged in some kind of... but I think that we shouldn't just end these things here. Most of the time you will hear about the seizure and then you don't even hear about anything. What happens?
Prosecution of those
what happened? Because this is about the fourth time that we've heard about this seizure. It happened in Kumasi, it happened somewhere in the north, and then we are hearing about this. What has happened to all those ones? Who are the people behind it? Are the security agencies trying to find out why they are engaged in this? What is the purpose? Is it going outside the country or they stay inside the country? These are issues that we need to be very careful about, because, you know, as a country, especially when these things are happening around election time, then you ask yourself, what is actually happening? Are people preparing themselves for war? Are people getting ready? That is why I was concerned when I hear some of these things, because you have people like this who want to make money out of confusion. And so if you are not careful, and then you create an impression as if somebody is going to do something wrong, I don't like that kind of attitude, because when you are doing something and your first impression or your thought is that there's going to be something wrong, and so I'm preparing myself, that is what leads to all these things. And so I think that the security agents, even though they are doing their best, they must be up and doing, and they should let us know those who are engaged in these kind of things, and then when they arrest them, what happens? For all you know, there are people who are just engaged in business, which is not good for the country. And so they should at times make us, you know, it shouldn't just end here. They have seized them. Who are the people behind? The people who are smuggling these things to Bunkurugu? Do they have the capacity to even purchase these ammunitions? What is their interest in it? Were they sent by some people to carry these things? So these are the issues that we must go into. And then we must also, as a people, we must take our security issues very seriously and must be on alert. Because there are people, whatever you do, whatever situation, especially if you take into consideration all the things that are happening around us, these are not issues that we should take lightly at all. I'm
grateful. Dr. Kubo, can we link this to the fact that we're getting ready for an election, or perhaps this is a regular thing in that part of the country because of the conflict that we see there?
Well, my first reaction is that when we pick up these people, do we really find out whether they are licensed dealers? Because I know people have been licensed and they can deal in arms and ammunition. And so if it's a licensed person who is bought ammunition and transferring to a destination, then we shouldn't get unnecessarily agitated, because that is its normal business. But at times the newspapers will create sensation around these things as if it's happening, this is the first time it's happening, and you are in election year, so quickly everybody must be nervous about what is happening. That's why my sister, the Honorable, is saying that when people are picked up and these matters are reported, we must follow through to the end and find out what really happened and what lessons have been learned from such a discovery. Because otherwise you create a sensation, you run away from it, and you know, society doesn't benefit from the story because it has no real value.
Right.
Now, Madam says 4 times in this year people have been picked up.
There was Kumasi and
so then we should gather the statistics and establish some trends year on year. Last year, did we have any? This year? And so statistics will lead you to a certain conclusion, you know, as social scientists. So I think they should do more than just report the matter and leave it at that. Now, I also appreciate that we are in an election year, the stakes are high, and therefore, yes, we should take security seriously. But when we keep shouting wolf, 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 the day that the wolf comes, nobody will be ready. So that's my comment for now.
I'm grateful, Dr.
I like that.
Mr. Glover.
I'm Titus Glover.
You are Mr. Titus Glover. So for us, and particularly for you as Member of Parliament, it is a challenge to find out how the trend can be established and see if they are linked to upcoming elections.
Here again, this is our security matters. And the best people to talk about this are the security people themselves. I like what Doctor said. First of all, to find out whether indeed this person who has been apprehended by the police has a license to deal in these ammunitions. If he hasn't got, then we have a good strong grounds to deal with him accordingly. And the question is, if he has and is dealing, is the timing good for him to deal, especially when we know there's a serious chieftaincy problem in that area of the northern region. The people of the northern region need jobs. They need work to do. They need to better their lives. It is not through this kind of fighting that will solve their problems. Government and the security agencies are dealing. Recently, they had smoked a peace pipe that will make sure there's not going to be any problem with regards to this chieftaincy and all that. And our prayer is that whatever they have said, willingly, they should be able to adhere to whatever they have said. So, the police will not be able to arrest this if there's no informant. I am sure there was an informant who relayed this to the security agencies.
The story said so.
So we need to commend these people on the sideline. Then also the cooperation of the driver unions is also key in this arrangement, because they can connect with these driver unions and quietly they can smuggle this thing quietly and off they go. You not even see. But you see, the way the police will collaborate with these drivers and their unions and the public will give them that impetus to ensure that when characters like this want to foment trouble in our various localities can be apprehended.
I see.
You know, so we need to resource the police, we need to encourage the public, we need to support the driver unions so that anybody who is coming out with some of these things will not be left off the hook. intelligence gathering is very key.
I'm grateful, Titus. Let's quickly move to the story on the front page of the Daily Graphic.
Hunting,
yeah,
for game,
yeah,
is also a source of income for some of the.
Yes, it's true. Yeah,
right.
So
perhaps
we're just going to fight.
It's true.
Yeah,
They could be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We'll follow that story closely, but let's quickly touch on this one before we wrap up. Now we're told that our fight against drug trafficking has received some support, $1 million from our donors to end illegal operations of drug traffickers. Dr. Kopon, we're running out of time, but let me quickly take something from you. $1 million to fight drug barons. How good is it? How can we deal with it?
Well, it's good money for us to strengthen our security agencies to be able to fight these menace. Drugs are no good for any country. And I can understand why they are giving us money, because I don't know, but it's been speculated that we are one of the transit points in West Africa for drugs going to Europe and other parts. So it's in their own interest to provide us funding to be able to stop this before they get over to Europe, where the final consumers are. Of course, traces will be left behind, and our own youth will also be, using the drugs. So it's a win-win affair for those who are providing the money in terms of ensuring that the drugs don't get to the final destination, and again for us, so that our youth don't copy. And when we are associated with drugs, it gives you a very bad brand as a nation or image as a nation. So it's good for us to be able to maintain a credible brand as a nation, a sovereign country, collaborating with other nations.
Let me quickly pick your thoughts on this. Some have said that, look, spend some of the money into giving skills to these youth who would otherwise go into the drugs.
That's a very difficult and too general. Look, how would you know in the first place the youth who are likely to go into drugs? And then if you look at the amounts and you think that you can put it into, say, capacity building for these agencies, I think you need to put the money into the best use. Right. That will actually fight drug trafficking. If you are not careful, you give the money, you want to say, you think that the youth, it is as simple as because they don't have job to do, that is why they are into drugs. It may be more than that. And so you give the person the money, and then within a short period of time, the person, the possibility that the person may even use the money to go into
some useful venture.
Yeah, it's high, but then they can also use it in the. So it is better to build the capacity of the institution. With you look at the money that is available to you, and then put it to the best use to prevent drug trafficking. And so if you think that it is training the youth that will bring down drug trafficking, so be it. But I think that it is very important to build the capacity of the those who are engaged in
the fight against drug trafficking. I'm grateful. Mr. Titus Glover, you have 2 minutes.
Right, this is not the first time that we've got such support from these donors. I recall in our time this Operation Westbridge by the British government. That collaboration was able to lead to a lot of our drive in, controlling the handling and the dealing in these narcotics in the country. We need to know what has happened to that arrangement. Is it still in place? What has happened? So now that we are getting additional, is it from the same source, from the British government based on this story?
No, this is not
from a different government.
These are different,
so in collaboration,
the UN office is involved in that.
Okay, so it is good. Now, looking at the use of part of this money to support these drug addicts, unfortunately, it is these users of the drug who rather gets the should I call it the negative aspects of the use, but the main dealers, the characters who really deal in this drug in the very commercial levels are left off the hook. So part of this money, we should be very careful as to how we're going to do it, because what are the best practices around the globe? People, we have homes where drug addicts are rehabilitated, are sent to rehab centers where they are going through a lot of rehabs, and I don't know, do you see that? Yes, they'll be able to reform. then immediately there is a job available for him that will take him away from these bad social vices and all that. So I think that yes, it's the welcome news that we've got this funding that has come. But we need to sit down. By this time, the intelligence community, the Ministry of Interior, the BNI, the National Security, and even the Gender Ministry,
right,
you know, should all sit down and look at how we can deal with the issue of trying to take people off the streets. When we go throughout the country, there are spots, there are places where people need these drugs. I'm sure that we are able to identify the target, and it should be in a way. I know a brother who have involved himself, and today he's a pastor. And he preaches. He was my senior 1 year in the primary and the middle school. Today, when you see him, you'll be amazed.
Okay,
you know.
That's I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your time this morning. Daniel Ni Quartet Titus Glover is a member of Parliament for Tema East of the NPP. Madam Barbara Asewa Samoa is a Deputy Minister, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, and Dr. Edward Kwabon is the Chief Executive Officer of HR Perspective. Gentlemen and lady, I'm grateful for your time this morning. Thanks so much for coming.